Hey everybody, Iron Oba here, and in this video I'm going to be taking a quick look at the Future War Cult Scout Rifle, the Peladias Corrector. I hope I got that name right. Peladias Corrector is a scout rifle that can drop from an engram, turning in tokens to the Future War Cult Lakshmi 2 representative. She is dropped as a medium rate of fire scout rifle, pretty quick. It's a secondary energy weapon, obviously can roll into any of the archetypes, solar, void, or arc. It is fairly decent, pretty quick, with a pretty decent reload speed. Comes with the perks High Caliber Rounds and primarily Rampage. Rampage is the no choosable perk, that is the perk that is going to be on the gun. Very snappy gun. Rampage are basically, after a kill, when you kill something, your gun will do increased damage over however many times you keep doing it. It can stack up to 3 times. So, in order to make the best use of Rampager, you're going to want to try to hit low-tier enemies, and you're going to want to try and hit headshots to hit them off real quick, because the timer from getting to times 1 to times 2 to times 2 to times 3 is probably about a 3 to 4 second window. It's not very long, so if you can't finish off an enemy within that time, it'll reset, or it just will finish, so it'll go back down to nothing, and then it'll reset after you kill that person back to times 1. And the damage scaling can kind of get fairly substantial depending on what you're fighting. I went to Titan, and normally regular headshots, I was doing 162 damage to the Hive here on Titan. 162, when I got a first kill, that's normal damage, is 162 to the head. The first tier, when I got Rampage times 1, I was starting to deal 178 damage. Times 2, I did 196, and then times 3, I was doing 215. So the damage was jumping up pretty quick, about 10 or so every single time. Not too bad. Fighting against higher tier enemies like this, I fight Ogre in the video here, I was doing 81 regularly to the head, and then tier 1, Rampage 1, I did 89, and then Rampage times 2 on the gun, on heavies, I did 98, and then times 3, I did 108. This has actually been a fairly good scout rifle, and if I ever wanted to try and run combos in PvE, which I often do, run things like, say, a hand cannon primary and a scout rifle secondary for the quick action, or if I have an auto rifle primary, but I still want that long range advantage with a scout rifle, I like this archetype of scout rifle. It's very much the Tlaloc for the Warlocks in Destiny 1. It is that archetype of Amalon scout rifle. Feels great, good medium rate of fire. I think Rampage is pretty solid as a perk. I did have some trouble sometimes activating it to get it to really work, but fighting low-tier enemies, it's not too bad. You may end up having troubles trying to do long-term damage with trying to maybe get 3 headshots on something, or kill 3 things, and then have, for the next, 4 seconds, have that Rampage keep going. So it is a little difficult to keep it going and use it against higher-tier enemies, but it is still a very solid scout rifle, in my opinion, and one that I think is, if you are repping Future War Cult, is worth picking up. So that's the PvE, that it's pretty good, but what is it like in PvP? Well, I went in there real quick, and I was doing some tests run here, and I've used a scout rifle, this archetype, in the Destiny 2 PvP before, and it is a very solid scout rifle, especially since it has the high caliber rounds, which causes a lot of shake on your opponent's scopes when you hit them first. It is viable in this regard. Rampage doesn't really pop at all in PvP, and you're going to find that it's not really the greatest perk to have, so you may choose to maybe bring along another weapon like Uriel's Gift, or even the Future War Cult auto rifle to maybe bring you more of an edge in the PvP environment. But I was consistently getting, headshots and kills with the gun. It does 30 to the body with a 44 crit to the head, which is pretty substantial damage. If you can consistently land those headshots, you can take someone down probably in a couple bullets, maybe 4 or 5. Not too bad, since it has a 15, 16 round clip. Decent rifle. I paired it with a hand cannon, Better Devils, in the primary slot, and I was wrecking house with it. Again, could go real well with a auto rifle in the primary, having that in your secondary, but again, Rampager will feel wasted here. You will feel that Rampager will not activate basically at all. The only scenario that I could see it is maybe if the enemies are grouped up and you're like, boom, get 1, that's times 1, and then maybe hit a second one, do a little bit more damage. Maybe if you can finish them off real quick, then your gun does even more damage. But then if a third person shows up, that becomes your third encounter in a single fight. Not very often, unless there's team shooting, will one person be able to reliably take out 3 people in a row, unless either the very lucky or the very, very skilled. But I just never found that Rampage popped all that much, if at all ever. I never noticed it, so that may lead you to use another gun, like Uriel's Gift, or even maybe, the Future War Cult auto rifle. But where does that leave the Peladias Corrector? Well, I think it is a very decent PvE scout rifle if you don't really have one that you predominantly use in your secondary slot and are looking for something to use in PvE. On the PvP side, it doesn't feel like the perk will activate all that much. While you are doing good critical damage and good body shot damage, it is a scout rifle, and this is probably what it's going to do. Again, having the perk feels wasted. The high caliber rounds are nice to deal with enemies, but having Rampage just kind of sit in the background that it might activate every now and again, but it's not consistent enough to go through a whole match, is a little bit disappointing. So, for me, this is a PvE gun, and only for the challenging. Only if you want a semi-reliability, but with the challenge of maybe making the perk go off every now and again, then maybe for PvP. But for me, it is a PvE scout rifle, and that's where I think, for me personally, it'll really succeed in taking out low-tier enemies. That's my review of the Peladias Corrector from Future War Cult, guys. There will be other videos coming out. Hopefully, we'll do a couple other guns for the other factions that maybe no one else is covering. But thanks for watching the video. Remember, comment down below and tell me what you think the best weapon for this faction rally is, and what one you got, and what the perks were, and what you really liked about the gun. Let me know in the comment below. Like the video, subscribe to my channel for more Destiny content and things coming out. We got Iron Banner coming out real quick, so there's going to be a lot to cover. But thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll see you out in the field.